Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience. We discuss ways where we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience. Our subject today, don't hijackal your customers. Now, earlier this week, I had the distinct pleasure to publish an interview on our podcast, Cool Culture Corner, with Dr. Roberta Shaler, and she coined the term hijackals. Basically, you can certainly go to the podcast and listen to her definition, but it's folks that either in a personal relationship or a work environment that create chaos, they create negativity, my words, that just isn't necessary for a number of different reasons. And I have a great example of what not to do earlier this week. As all of you know who listen to the podcast, watch the show, read all my stuff, I really try hard not to mention the name of the business when it's a negative example. I've broken that rule just once or twice that I can remember. Once out of pure anger on my side, and another that I remember just to make a point. And I'll continue to follow that rule on this show. But my mother, I think, once told me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. I don't think I'll necessarily follow that last piece of advice, but I'll at least start by saying something nice. On this particular occasion, my wife and I were on the way to one of our favorite places. We live in the Long Beach, California area, and one of my favorite places that I'm more than happy to give a shout out to is Theory Cafe on 2nd Street. Have always gotten phenomenal service. The food is great. I would say at least an 8 or 9 out of 10, probably more 9 out of 10. You wouldn't necessarily think from a cafe that you'd be getting that high end of food, but they do an awesome job and provide a great experience as well. Just a very nice atmosphere to relax, have a nice glass of wine and some very good food with terrific service, which creates a very well-branded experience. Now, on this particular day, we were walking to Theory, and the only thing that Theory doesn't have is they only serve wine and beer, and it had been a particularly long day for my wife and I know my wife does like to have also a gin and tonic to kind of relax, which I understand. And he said, well, we don't often go to this place that's near Theory, whose name I won't mention, but it's very close to Theory in Long Beach on 2nd Street, and they do have a full liquor license. So I said, well, we haven't been there in a number of months. The one time we were there this year, it was a bad experience, but they do have a full bar. Would you like to go in there so that you can possibly, get a gin and tonic? And she said, yeah, let's check that out for a change. We haven't been there in a number of months. Maybe it's a little better. Anyhow, so we went in. It happened to be happy hour. They had a menu right in front that said, well drinks are $5. So when the bartender came over, I simply said, okay, well, my wife would like a gin and tonic. I'll take a vodka soda, one of my drinks of choice, in case anybody out there sees me and wants to buy me a drink. And I said, the well is fine for your happy hour. We drank those. We ordered one more round as we were watching a game on television, and we wanted to then go to Theory to get something to eat, because they do have some of the best food on 2nd Street. And so I put a $20 bill and a $5 bill under my empty glass and said, that'll be all for us. And he said, okay, would you like me to close you out? And I said, yes, that would be great. And my intent was thinking, okay, by putting a 20 down, that means that we're paying for the 4 drinks, which by my math is $20. And I'm also leaving what I consider to be a decent tip of $5, which is 25% or about $1.25 a drink, which is about standard for good meets expectation service or slightly better. And it was good until then. Then to use Dr. Roberta Shaler's uh, coined phrase, I'll use it as a verb instead of a noun. The bartender came back and he hijacked our whole experience. He came back and said, hey, buddy, we need a couple extra bucks. And so already he's putting me in a negative situation in front of my wife, in front of other people at the bar, which obviously brought my ire up. And I took the menu. I thought well drinks were $5 a piece. He's like, well, I was pouring you the higher end liquor. And I said, well, we asked for well drinks. And with kind of an attitude, he said, well, I'll take care of it. And I thought to myself, you just took a situation that was meets maybe slightly above meets expectations, and you completely turn that 180 degrees around by your attitude. Because whichever way you cut it, it's going to be a negative for the brand of that organization, for the brand of that particular restaurant. Because on the best end, that just simply means that you're incompetent. And when we asked for well drinks, you offered or you actually poured something that we didn't ask for, and therefore caused an issue. You could have kind of bounced back if you realized, all right, he gave me a 20 and a 5. He probably ordered well drinks and could have changed that on his own. Or on the other end, the end that I actually feel may be the case is that despite the fact asking for well drinks, he decided on his own to pour a higher end liquor to increase the bill and possibly increase his tip. Now, in this case, maybe he paid the extra dollar that or two that he needed to pay the bill and didn't get any tip. If that's the case, that's the price you pay for either incompetence or immorality. But obviously, he could have handled that much better. And the irony of that is, as well, is that similar to one of the other shows that I've done before in terms of restaurants, it doesn't seem to matter that whether it's 6 months or even 6 years, a bad culture is a bad culture. There could have been so many better ways that he could have handled that instead of hijacking, my words, our whole experience. Now that's created a negative for that particular restaurant brand, because although I don't mention their name on this show, I guarantee you to all of my friends and colleagues in the Long Beach area, I will go out of my way to tell them this story and give the name of the particular restaurant, especially since it's coupled with another negative incident. And most important, it creates a very poor reflection of the experience in that particular area that I don't want to have taint some of the other great restaurants that are in the Belmont Shore area, particularly, and I'll mention them again, Theory. Great little place, awesome branded experience. If you're on 2nd Street and you want to get an example, especially if you're in the restaurant business, of what I feel is a really positive branded experience, then I suggest going to Theory. If you're walking that particular direction, probably no reason to go past Theory unless you're going all the way to Naples, because you hit the last great spot on 2nd Street. So what we can learn from this in my little rant, and I appreciate you putting up with this in my little story, is that even in a mistake, and let's assume for a minute this was a mistake, you could find a way to still make this a positive experience. If he had come back and said something to the effect of, oh, I see that you probably had ordered the well drinks. I forgot I had given you higher end liquor in your particular drinks, but you know what? I'm going to just charge you the the happy hour price because I could see that's what you expected. Just wanted to let you know. And I would have just kind of said thank you and would have rolled out of that particular restaurant with a desire to possibly return. You know, he could have made that a well-branded experience instead of literally, you know, basically, and this may be a harsh word, but ruining that whole experience and turning it 180 degrees and making it so that my wife and I don't ever want to go back to that particular place. So, you know, think about, you know, not hijacking an experience as a professional in the service industry. And most importantly, and I'll leave you with this, if you're an owner or a manager in the service business, train your employees in those types of situations to give the customer the benefit of the doubt, to think it a little bit of a different way, because, you know, the couple of bucks is not worth the negative branding that's going to happen for days, weeks, maybe even months and years afterwards. Thank you for spending some time with me today. And here's hoping that you're branding the experience at a very high level for all those you serve. Take care.